Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are watching us from, whichever part of the world, depending on your time zone. Accept my greetings on this day. It's that time of the day that we begin to talk about the issues that are affecting us. And tonight I want to talk about the question of the MCAs. The BBI is now in the hands of the MCAs, county assemblies, and as you would expect, Siaya County Assembly became the first one to pass the constitutional amendment bill under the BBI initiative. Now they have set the bar very high in terms of what I mean by that. It is Baba's county of birth, that is Bondo. Which is in Siaya County, and therefore they are simply saying that we are behind the principle in this particular matter, and therefore we throw the ball to the rest of the counties. They have become the first one, and therefore 23 counties are remaining for the BBI bill to be adopted, and therefore we will be set for Parliament to now discuss that. So what it means is that right now you're likely to see competition from the Nyanza counties especially, and the larger ODM stronghold around the country. They're going to compete to see who else is going to pass this as fast as possible, which poses a challenge. And you can now understand why President Uhuru Kenyatta was whipping his Mount Kenya turf, the 10 counties, and telling them, look guys, you have, he's simply saying, my partner in this, my brother, as he has been calling him, is so determined. So it could never be urgent than now. And the president, whatever he was doing, must have been from the point of intelligence. He had intelligence that you cannot take this away from Baba's strongholds, and therefore he had to do and keep his part of the bargain. But let me come to the flip side and say something that I've been talking about. I honestly do not expect to see any county assembly fail to pass the proposed constitutional amendment bill dubbed the Building Bridges Initiative. And there is a good reason for this. No county wants to be left out of the 35%. And if you go back to 2013 from when we've had, and I remember having this discussion with my friend Dennis Itumbi on K24 sometime back, when we were saying that the government, actually what the government had done is that they had allocated much more than the required 15%, because it goes according to the last audited financial accounts. So if that is the case, and you have a government that has the goodwill and good intentions, you're likely to get more than that 35%, because that is the minimum. What it means is that counties, the county assemblies, will have more money to control, will have a bigger cake within the. I will wait to see how the county assemblies, if any, because I don't see any going to say no to the BBI because of that. And honestly, I would not expect any of them to pass and to fail to pass it. And if there is, or there would be, it will be interesting to see the reasoning they will be advancing when you look at the BBI in terms of resource allocation to the counties. Politically, the issue of 2022 and whether it is Tangatanga or Kieleweke, Hustler, or whichever political movement you belong to, 2022 is a matter that they can sort out. The BBI, as it is, as far as resource allocation to the counties, sharing of revenue is concerned, they are not going to fail to pass that. They will pass this, then they will wait for the next hurdle, which is the 2022 presidential elections. Then there is going to be all manner of alignment. But at this point in time, I do not see how they are going to fail to pass. Now, takes me to a point that I believe Kenyans must and need to be angry about, which is the promise that people want car grants, that election into office gives you a right to be given a car grant. Now, the MCAs apparently have been promised that 2 million exchequer disbursement for them to get car grants. And I'm asking myself, there's so many civil servants, there are so many Kenyans working out there. Who gives you a car grant? Who is getting a car grant from their employers? So why, in fact, we should be asking the president and Prime Minister Raila Odinga to whip their members, to whip their supporters in parliament, so that we do away with this thing of people being elected, members of parliament, by that I mean the National Assembly and the Senate, and now MCAs demanding as a right that being elected gives you or entitles you to a car grant, surely. I mean, all of us, people struggle to buy their own cars. What is so different about being a member of parliament? And if they need any kind of and I know I'm going to ruffle a lot of feathers when I'm saying this, but honestly, guys, if you need to be facilitated to move within the county or within the constituency, then we have structures or mechanisms within which you can be facilitated to be able to move when you're in the constituency. We have the Constituency Development Fund now. So if within the National Government Constituency Development Fund, you should be able to get facilitated from the office of the member of the CDF to be able to move around. If you're a senator, honestly, there are devolved functions that you can perform once you're down at the county. We shouldn't, and even for within the structure of the Ward Development Fund, the members of the county assembly should be able to get facilitated to move around. And if you need a car, like all of us do, then save or get a car loan and be able to enjoy the luxury of a car. Don't burden the Kenyans. They are paying you a salary, they are paying you sitting allowance, they are paying you all manner of allowances, and then now you want to get a grant for a car. Honestly, I don't think that is something that Your Excellency the President and Right Honorable Raila Odinga, you need to mobilize your people to stop this kind of allowance, this kind of privilege that is actually discriminatory against the other hardworking Kenyans who should equally be entitled to a car grant. If everybody was to be given that, then let it be all of us, because we all pay taxes, we all work. I mean, if people are getting facilitated, let them be facilitated within the mainstream of the government expenditure, not giving people free money to then move around with vehicles that we have bought for them using our taxes. And then they own those vehicles. Some of us don't get that. They have a pension scheme, let them save. They can get a car loan, they can, the same way they get a mortgage at minimal interest rate. I believe it's 2 or 3%. Let it be so even for the car. Kenyans should resist this temptation. And MCAs, if that is the condition you're giving for you to pass, we want to remind you that even if this thing is passed, you're not going to benefit. You've got to work your socks off during the next general election for you to be re-elected for this to apply. This is not going to apply for you because the law dictates that you will only get this. This is only applicable after the next general election. So be reminded. So don't deceive yourselves that you will start getting these benefits, accruing these benefits immediately. It is until the next after the next general election. So let us do our duty. BBI is a good document. I do not understand why people want to oppose it, or is it just for the sake of it, or political scores? And I'm here. I'm ready. For anybody who wants to have a discussion with me or a debate on whether BBI is actually a good document or a bad document. But This is our first constitutional moment. It is a constitutional amendment, the first amendment of the 2010 constitution. Let's take it. And as long as we do what I have seen, the BBI has three elements. It has the policy proposals, which can be are supposed to be implemented even now as we speak. We have the administrative proposals, which should be taking place right now in terms of implementation. And Your Excellency, the President, your government needs to start implementing those administrative and policy proposals of the BBI. Then we deal with the constitutional amendments proposals that are contained in that. Let us not be deceived that BBI is all about the prime ministership and leader of the official opposition and expanded government. That is not true. And in subsequent coverage, I'm going to break down what the BBI is all about so that we stop deceiving each other. Tuache kudanganyana that BBI is a bad document. Let the money go mashinani. Let the youth get an opportunity to develop themselves with the tax holidays that have been proposed, the Youth Commission, and the World Development Fund all now exist within the constitution if we adopt the BBI. We will talk about the BBI, but right now I wanted to reprimand our MCAs, and I wanted to reprimand whoever is thinking that we want to continue giving people car grants when the rest of the Kenyans are not getting such privileges. There is a principle of non-discrimination in this country, and it is one of the principles of public service under Article 262 of the Constitution. We must adhere to that. When members of parliament or elected officials want to get car grants, when the rest of the civil public servants are not getting, that is already discrimination. Let us say no to that. If people want to support BBI, let them support it on principle, not because they have been promised anything. That is it for now, for this particular one. See you again. Let's keep the conversation alive. Subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on social media. Let's keep talking about these issues because they affect us. They are going to affect us, and if we keep silent, the more they go to, the longer or the more they will affect us. And by the way, like one good man said, bad leaders are in office because good people like you refuse to get into these conversations and refuse to offer themselves for election into office. So let's have all the good people discussing these issues. Until the next time, adios.